Today on Investigate TV Plus, miles and miles of metal rails line our country's roads. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich, but our investigation found what's supposed to keep us safe can turn deadly in an instant.
It speared the front seat through the window and took him with it.
This really not designed as a crash-worthy barrier system at all.
So why is something that is not crash-worthy on the road?
We uncover the answer to that question and sit down with one family warning others of the dangers.
Plus, severe burnout pushes some nurses out of the emergency room.
They just give you a pizza party and say it's time to move on. Nobody gave us an opportunity to heal.
We examine the projected shortage of these critical caregivers and reveal one solution already helping our healers.
Then the sounds of the squeeze box. We take you beneath the bellows of the accordion to see how this interesting instrument works and meet the man dedicated to keeping them in tune.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus.
There's a dangerous and sometimes deadly hazard on roads in every state, and it's likely you've driven past one.
It's called a blunt end rail, and while the federal government banned its installation on U.S. highways, it's still allowed on rural roads.
Experts say these rails can spear vehicles at speeds as low as 10 miles per hour, with collisions sometimes ending in death.
This is Cameron Epp, a 6-year-old boy who died in rural Kansas after he was impaled by one of these rails.
Reporter Kristen Crowley sat down with his parents to learn more about how deaths like this could be prevented.
It's often quiet in the rural town of Turin, Kansas. But whenever the wind blows,
It's Cameron. When we can't see him, we can feel him and we can hear him. The wind chime, it's him. Whenever he can't speak, he sings to us.
it's a little bit of comfort for parents in the midst of tremendous pain, losing their 6-year-old little boy, Cameron Paul Epp.
As a parent, the grieving process there is no answer to it. I mean, we're just coping.
Kayla and Brian Epp aren't just coping with the death of their son. They're grappling with how it happened, driving home from the store.
I looked back,
Just a half-mile from their home,
one hand on the wheel,
she looked back at Cameron for just a second.
and I said, "Hold on, bud, we're almost home." And then I hit the bridge. I remember seeing the tip of the guardrail come through, and I saw the airbags go off. It speared the front seat through the window and took him with it. He had been flung out at the bridge. He was underneath the bridge, basically. And I had walked over there, and I remember seeing the front seat of the car, or of the truck, and his shoe, and then his legs. I never saw all of his body. I saw enough to know that he was gone. I blamed myself like a lot.
Still does.
5-year-old daughter Taylor was also in the truck,
We didn't have even a bump. We walked from the accident literally home.
which left Kayla wondering about the rail.
My first response was, has this happened before? Like, has it ever speared somebody?
The answer to that is yes.
Fatal crashes into non-crash-worthy fixed objects like this occur nationally every day or every week.
That's Ronald Fowler, a research professor at the Midwest Roadside Safety Facility at the University of Nebraska. He says the object Kayla hit is known as a blunt end rail, a single fixed piece of steel with nothing on the ends to cushion a vehicle. Fowler says those rails were built to be barriers for horses and buggies. And even as cars became more common, the rail designs didn't change.
This really not designed as a crash-worthy barrier system at all.
So why is something that is not crash-worthy on the road?
Well, because they were put on the road for their purposes in that era.
Today, he says they are known to be dangerous, with a history of spearing vehicles.
The guardrail. With an end like this, it can spear right through your car and you.
It's why the Federal Highway Administration ordered them removed from all U.S. highways more than 30 years ago. But the FHA doesn't have the authority to make those changes on state and county roads.
Why is something that's not permitted on U.S. highways allowed to be on something like a county road?
Well, on a county road, it's an old standard, and they just haven't really upgraded those standards because they don't have resources to do that.
Fowler says counties often don't have the money to put in safer, more expensive infrastructure like this. That's why these types of rails are not uncommon.
They are out there throughout the United States on those lower volume roads, rural roads.
Is there any safe speed to crash into these?
Maybe 5 or 10 mile an hour might be something that you would take a chance on. I'm not sure I'd want to do 10 on the side either.
The speed limit on the road where Kayla crashed is 45 miles per hour. Fowler says it's likely most rural counties don't know how dangerous these devices are, but says there is a solution to this problem.
Really what can be done is try to raise funds, for one, for state DOTs and counties to be able to afford safety improvements. And then two, it's educating and training, the engineers around the United States, city level, county level.
Fowler says they've had success doing that in Nebraska, where state funds helped replace old rural road infrastructure dangerous to drivers. But without help from the states, he says, these dangerous devices will remain. The Ebbs say one day after Cameron's death, the bridge rail was replaced with another blunt end.
To put this same exact one up is kind of a slap in the face, and it's very disrespectful to my son.
This is what hit the truck right here. It's just a deadly fixture just waiting for somebody else.
The Ebbs drive by this rail every day, a constant reminder of what they lost. But just a few feet away,
I stop by it every other day. Just me. I walk down here when things get tough.
a memorial for Cameron reminds them of their bright and happy little boy,
It's peaceful here.
with plenty of pinwheels and wind catchers. And amid the grief, there is also hope that Cameron's loss can be the impetus for overdue change.
Make a purpose out of this. It's the ultimate cost. His life. I mean, let it be known that this is a deal. This is an issue.
We made multiple calls for months to the Reno County Public Works Department in Kansas, which is in charge of this stretch of road. No one ever returned our calls. Fowler says he encourages states and counties to reach out to the Midwest Roadside Safety Facility, which can help guide them in making sure their rural roads are safer. Fowler did tell us that most counties are allowed to do what is called replace in kind, meaning if a rail is damaged, counties can replace it with whatever was there, even if it's dangerous. In his professional opinion, he told us the bridge where Cameron died is better off having no barrier at all.
To report a potentially faulty or improperly installed rail on a state highway, you should contact the state's Department of Transportation. For county or rural roads, contact the county's highway department or county administrator.
Still ahead, one craftsman helps forge futures with steel.
It's gratifying, that I found some purpose.
We reveal how his passion for the blade is cutting through school lunch debt.
But first, a crisis is unfolding at hospitals across the U.S., and it could impact you.
I realized I had time to process some really intense things that I've gone through in the last year or two that I had not had time to do.
We examine the nursing shortage in hospitals where they're needed most and how one organization is helping nurses heal.
Your care is at the center of a crisis experts say involves the entire healthcare system.
Each year until 2032, the U.S. will see nearly 200,000 job openings for registered nurses. And the reason that affects you? Researchers say higher nurse-to-patient ratios can raise the likelihood of errors and decrease patient satisfaction.
In order to help keep nurses at patients' sides, a support organization offers retreats for nurses by nurses.
Reporter Adrian Thomas takes us there and uncovers part of the problem behind the shortage.
And we never healed from that. They just give you a pizza party and say it's time to move on. Like, COVID's over, here we go. Yeah. And it's like nobody gave us an opportunity to heal.
For registered nurse Heather Sweeney and therapist Amy Ponteri, taking care of those who take care of us in emergencies has become their mission. It began several years ago when both felt there just weren't enough resources for those who work in the most intense healthcare settings like emergency rooms, and they know from personal experience.
There's got to be a better way to do this. Like, we've got to figure out a way for us to take care of ourselves better, for us to take care of each other better so we can sustain, because we're just dropping right and left.
Both shared stories of working in ERs during the pandemic and its aftermath, describing the emotional and physical toll it took.
And then you get all these text messages every day of open shifts, and you feel like you should go pick it up because you don't want to leave your teammate down, but then all of a sudden you've worked 60 hours in the week.
While they acknowledge some hospitals and healthcare groups provide employee assistance programs to address the mental health strain on healthcare workers, the two felt more needed to be done and started Helping Healthcare Heal, where Sweeney and Ponteri offer retreats, support groups, and even continuing education for healthcare workers. We caught up with some of the nurses who take part in the activities. They described the experience as eye-opening and rejuvenating.
I realized I had time to process some really intense things that I've gone through in the last year or two that I had not had time to do. And that I needed, there were so many tears.
It was just like something new happened to me inside myself, and just being with the other women, hearing their stories, learning from the ladies, and just came back empowered.
According to the Oregon Center for Nursing, Oregon has more licensed nurses than ever before, but 30% of new nurses leave their first jobs out of nursing school within their first year. Christy Simila is the director of professional practice at the union representing many Oregon nurses, the Oregon Nurses Association. Simila is also a registered nurse with over a decade of experience prior to her current role.
My belief is that in Oregon, we don't actually have a nursing shortage. What we have is a vacancy crisis, and that's because of persistent, unhealthy work environment, increased stress, increased workplace violence.
Simila says in her experience, many nurses are taking jobs that are adjacent to frontline healthcare settings, such as nurse coaches, consultants, or in call centers doing triage, jobs outside the traditional nursing roles.
So I think hospitals can really start by listening to their nurses and what the nurses need, and really working to create a more healthy work environment, working to create a safer work environment where nurses aren't showing up and potentially being subject to workplace violence as often.
A law in Oregon aims to address the shortage with new rules on how many patients a nurse can care for at one time. As of fall 2025, just 3 other states, California, New York, and Massachusetts, have implemented similar nurse-to-patient ratio legislation.
Still ahead, an instrument associated with sounds of the past gets new life. The origin story behind one man's obsession with the squeeze box.
They're very expressive and they're extremely versatile.
But first, a craftsman carves out a plan to inspire students to give back.
They're learning a value here, that there are people out there that need help, and they're stepping up to help.
We reveal how he uses swords to fight back against student meal debt.
As students file into their cafeterias, many are forced to carry a burden no child should: school meal debt.
According to the Education Data Initiative, many children who owe school meal debt are part of families who earn too much to be considered for free or reduced price lunch. but also earn too little to afford regular school meals.
If schools can't pay off meal debts using federal funds, they're written off as an operating loss, and they may look to state, local, or charitable resources to try to offset the debt.
In a St. Louis, Missouri suburb, one man found his own way to help slash school lunch debt for local students.
Reporter Caroline Hecker shows us how.
The sound of wood carving echoes from Chris Monroe's garage. Each and every stroke done with purpose.
Like this sword right here, I've got 25 hours in at least. It's a Crusader's sword.
A retired firefighter, he started making swords for his grandchildren. Word reached the neighborhood kids, and he made more. 3 years later, he's made more than 100.
I get texts and emails from kids, about swords and about where they take it and what they did with it. It's gratifying, that I found some purpose.
That purpose comes in the form of giving back. For every sword Chris makes, he accepts a donation.
Just like that.
At the end of the school year, he takes the donations to a local school district, where they're used to pay down student lunch debt. Each donation made in the name of the child supporting his creations.
They're learning a value here, that there are people out there that need help, and they're stepping up to help.
Chris admits he didn't realize how common school lunch debt is until a conversation with his son-in-law, Andrew Crawford, a teacher.
It's often those kids that live on the bubble or on the cusp just above the poverty line or just above that threshold where we see the most school lunch debt.
Free and reduced price lunches are provided to children based on a set of income criteria. 20% of Missouri students are directly certified, a result of their household's participation in federal assistance programs like SNAP. Another 48% of Missouri students are eligible based on household income, and some school districts provide free lunch to all students if at least 25% of the student population is directly certified. Last year alone, Chris helped pay off nearly $1,000 in lunch debt. And this year,
this is a walking staff I made for a friend.
He hopes to grow that number with the help of some new creations.
Deer antler knife.
And his friend Stephanie Opping, who plans to sell them in her new Washington, Missouri store, The Emporium.
I mean, this is happening to your neighbors, it's happening all over. And so, yeah, if I can be part of the solution, I'm happy to.
Chris says the mission is an investment in education, not hunger. And even on days when it feels like a drop in the bucket, he keeps carving.
As of November 2025, these 9 states have adopted policies for free breakfast and lunch for all public school students, regardless of family income. Missouri is not one of them.
Still ahead, he's got a reputation for fixing these unique instruments, but when it comes to playing them...
Performing, though, for people, you get a little bit of stage fright?
Oh, it's not a little.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
We introduce you to one musician keeping the accordion alive.
One Vermont man found his passion for the accordion and doesn't just play them, he fixes them, keeping the instrument alive for future generations.
Reporter Joe Carroll takes us to his workshop.
Nathan Longo is rarely without sparkles. It's his Italian accordion from the early 60s.
Yes, this is the accordion that I play the most.
Per my request, he'll be playing on the Vermont State House lawn.
I've played downtown some.
You have?
But I've never played at the State House.
Performing, though, for people, you get a little bit of stage fright?
Oh, it's not a little.
Yeah?
It's a lot.
He need not worry. It's an audience of one.
I'll tell you what, I'll play you one I wrote.
The entitled song was written a decade ago. But if it did have a name, Nathan would call it Patience.
You have to be very patient.
Which he does at a small workshop a block away from the Golden Dome.
And I'm a lot better at fixing them than I am at playing them.
Nathan is one of a handful of people
There are not very many people that fix accordions,
who work on them in New England.
but I'm a lot busier than I ever thought I would be.
For this 74-year-old, what was something to do in retirement has turned into a 30-hour-a-week job.
There really are more people that are interested in accordion than I ever thought. So what I'm doing is I am attaching the reeds.
Growing up in Orange County, Nathan liked to tinker on things.
It bothers me when something doesn't work right.
But the curious boy struggled in school.
The teachers thought you were slow?
Yes. I mean, it took forever for them to teach me how to write my name. But nobody knew about dyslexia then.
Right.
I mean, I had pretty poor self-image at that time.
He made it through high school and found that he had a talent for fixing cars.
And that's all of being dyslexic. Dyslexics have a really good three-dimensional visualization.
Nathan then went on to make prototypes for high-end machinery in Massachusetts. Around 50, he started playing the squeeze box as a way to keep his brain active.
But to just, whatever you can, to just stay in the present.
Back at the State House, Nathan plays on.
They're very expressive and they're extremely versatile.
A super senior squeezing everything he can out of life.
I always love the sound of an accordion. You know, gives you that old Paris kind of feel.
I just look when they're playing. It seems so complicated and confusing to play. I couldn't do it, I don't think. Not that I'm a musician.
Learn.
I guess I could learn eventually. I don't know if this brain could do it though.
Well, that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Tisha Pell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Thanks for watching.
On the next Investigate TV Plus, the government demands thousands of dollars back in overpaid benefits.
What was your reaction when you saw that number?
I was, livid. Yes, truly upset. My wife and I, we would be devastated because we still got bills.
We'll explain how the agency can withhold benefits until the matter is settled, plus the emotional roller coaster one family faced trying to make sense of the demands.